If you are new here, this is the most beginner friendly complete web development course, and these are some of the projects we will be covering in this course. I upload lots of lessons per week, so please subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss any of them. I respond promptly to comments, so if you want to ask or say something, feel free to drop it in the comments. If you missed any of the previous lessons, the link to the entire playlist is down in the description box. Let's get started. Let me show you something real quick before we start. If for some reason your live server is not working, this is how you can open your file. You actually don't need the live server, it's just an addition to make you work faster. Okay, so if your live server is not working for some reason, which happens sometimes, you want to go to where you have your file, so the folder where your file is, and then you simply double click the file like this. All right, or you can right click on the file and then go to open with Chrome. Now the disadvantage with doing it this way is that whenever you make changes to your code, you first have to save the code, and then you open the browser, you refresh the browser, and then you see your changes. Okay, so you have to be saving and then refreshing the browser. But with the live server, you just save and then it will reflect on the browser, which makes your work faster. The second thing is, it doesn't matter how much space you have between your elements, like this element and that element. Okay, so I have just one line of space in it. That doesn't mean there should be one line of space in the file itself. So when I open the file for you, you see that there's this space. It's not actually reflecting this space. You can leave as much space as you want. Okay, when you save, it will still be the same in the browser. This space doesn't matter. As long as the space is not within an element, it doesn't matter. And because of that, Prettier actually removes the excess space for you just to make your code look nicer. So you see that when I save, that space is gone. Okay, this is the work of Prettier, just to make your code look nicer. So if you don't have Prettier, you realize that when you save, that space won't be closed, but it will not reflect in the browser. So you leave spaces between your codes just to make your code look nicer, and it's a very good practice. All right, let's get started. So let's continue with our lesson. I mentioned that we have various types of headings. Okay, so the one we wrote is the heading 1, which is the biggest form of a heading. So you can have heading 2, heading all the way to heading 6. So I'll quickly copy and paste this 6 times, and then we'll check out how the other headings look like. So okay, so if you are wondering how I did this copy and paste quickly, you just click anywhere on the line that you want to copy and paste, and then you press Shift plus Alt and then plus the down key to copy down, or the up key to copy up. So I'll quickly change this to, let's change this to, let's change the next one to heading 2, then change this one to heading 3, change this one to heading 4, change this one to heading 5, and then this one to heading 6. Let's save it, and then you see the various types of headings and their sizes. So this heading 1 all the way to heading 6. Depending, you don't just use these headings anyhow, you use them with a format. The main title should have the heading 1, and other subtitles will have, say, heading 2, and subtitles within those in the heading 2 level can have heading 3 in that order. Okay, it's very important. It helps the user to follow the content of the website very well. People usually skim through websites using the headings, so it's very useful to know how to properly use them. So we've already seen HTML paragraphs over here. So this is a paragraph. We'll quickly look at links, and I just want to say that if anything seems too much for you at this point, if you are not understanding something, or it seems like you are rushing through things, don't worry, things will come into place as we go along. I actually believe in learning with projects. You learn better when you do projects. But of course, before we start any project, or even no matter how basic the project is, you need to have the basics. That's why we are going through this part of the course. So bear with me, let's go through the basics, and then once we are done with the tiny basics, we can start putting things together and doing actual projects. So this is a paragraph. Let's maybe do a longer paragraph and then see how it looks like. So I'll do the lorem. I've already showed you how to do this. Then I'll go for maybe 80 characters, or sorry, 80 words. Then press enter. Right. Okay, let's save it and see. So this is what happened. It looked very long and weird like this. But then when I saved it, Control S, and then it was nicely organized for me. That is the work of Prettier, if you remember the extension I made as install. All right, so you can see how what they look like. Let's look at what we call an anchor tag or an anchor element. So this anchor is used to link. It's used to create links. You know, when you are browsing and then you press a button and takes you to another page. That is the function of this anchor element. So inside the anchor element, I can do something like click to go to Google. All right. And the anchor tag has something we call the Href attributes. Okay, so it looks like this with an equal sign and then double quotes. This is what an attribute looks like, this very one. Elements can have attributes. We'll talk into more details about attributes, or we'll see more attributes as we go along, but this is a very typical example of an attribute. So this is the Href attribute of the anchor tag. Okay, this Href attribute indicates the actual link you want to go to. The text inside the content of the tag itself or the element itself is what will appear here, but the content of the Href attributes inside here is the link you want to visit. Okay, this link would be a link within your own website or a link outside your website. Let's use a link outside. We can use Google. All right, so we can go like https www.google.com. Let's save it and see how it looks. Okay, so you can see click to go to Google. Now if I click, what will happen is that it will load on this same page, okay, on the page that I am on, but you don't want that to happen when someone is on your website. Let me click to show you. Do you see that? So it's loaded and then it's cleared our website. We don't want that to happen. When the person clicks, you want them to open another tab and look at it. That is done by another attribute called the target attribute. Every attribute has values. So for the Href attribute, this is the value, and for the target attribute, it has a number of values, but the one we will need in this case is the blank. Is blank. Okay, when you put this blank target, it means that when I click, it should open another tab and not my own website. So let's see it in action. So you see it opened another tab. That's what this blank target attribute does. All right, so that's it for an anchor element. Okay, so let's look at how you add a button to a website. So a button element, as the name suggests, it's going to be button, right? This is a button element, and then you can go like click me. All right, so this is a button element. When you save, there is it. Right, so there's our button right here. Okay, so you see that the button is in line with the anchor that we created, and that is because they are both inline elements. So let me back up and explain this very quickly. We have two main types of elements. We have an element that is a block level element, and then we have an inline element. So a block level element is an element that doesn't go on the same line with any other element. An example is this heading element. So if you have one heading, this heading, and you put another element under it, that element will not go on the same line with that heading. It will come below it. Okay, another one is the paragraph. So you see that they were all on separate lines, but this anchor and this button are inline elements. That means that they go on the same line with their with the next element to them. So because anchor was in line and button was in line, you can see that they are in line over here. Now to avoid that and make it look a bit neat, we can use what we call the break element. Okay, this break is what is one of the self-closing tags. A self-closing tag means that it doesn't have open and end tag. Instead of an open tag and a close tag, it's just one tag. So it self-closes. It opens and closes itself. So it's called the self-closing tag. Okay, so did you see what happened when I put the break tag? It's broke, so it's more like a line breaker. That's why it's called the break tag. So it breaks the line and then puts the element that followed it to then on the next line. You can add another one for more line. Did you see that? Right. So that's what this break element does. Finally, before we end this lesson, let's look at lists. So there are two types of lists. There's the ordered list and there's the unordered list. So you can have the ordered lists inside the unordered list. This ordered list, that's what the OL represents. OL, ordered list. Okay, so this is a list that has an order. Yes, you have 1, 2, they are giving numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on ordered lists, we also will look at it shortly, doesn't have any numbering. Once you create the ordered list, inside the ordered list, you have list items. This can be item 1. Sorry, item 1. And then I'll copy and paste this a few times again, say 3 times, and this will be item 2. This will be item 3. All right. So I'll actually copy and paste this one. How I did that was I highlighted the whole thing and then I pressed, as I showed you earlier, Shift, Alt, and then down. Okay, so I'll make this an unordered list instead. All right. Now let's save them and see how each of them looks like. So did you see that? This is the ordered list. There's an order. It's 1, 2, and 3. And this is the unordered list without any order. It's just bullets, points. Okay. So I showed you the break element, which is used to break lines. There's one other element too that is quite interesting that I want to show you, which is the horizontal rule. So you have HR, just as the name suggests. It's also a self-closing tag. Okay, so you see how it does that. It creates a horizontal rule between two elements. It's quite interesting to use every now and then. Alright, so this is it for this lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson.